Good Sunday evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson, and let's go on and talk about the weather for your Sunday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight. But first, before we get into that, uh, what are um, what are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about obviously the short-term future. We're going to talk about tonight, tomorrow, current conditions, long-term future, and stuff like that. And before we get to the what's on tap screen, if you've not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Right now, we have around a good 6 people in here. We've had 10 people tune in so far, and we only have 3 likes. If you are a part of that group that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. Also, hit the subscribe button. That's also something else that is very much free. Something that we're trying to build to. We're trying to get to 700 subscribers. We're at 677. We are 23, yes, 23 subscribers away from that main goal. Yes, 23 away from that main goal. And then also hit the share button. Share it with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, even people that you don't even talk to regularly, because they can honestly get helped out with this weather forecast for me. And so, a nice little deed you could do is just going on and sharing something with them, and who knows, maybe you'll start a conversation up with them, and then y'all two will start to talk more. You never know. You will never know what happens if you just try something. So that's that, and then also one more thing before we get to the what's on tap screen, but we have officially made it 3/4 of the way there to 700 subscribers. Yes, we've made it past. We're at 677, as I said earlier. So we are past the 3/4 of the way mark. 23 left to go until we get to the main goal of 700. So, like I said, hit the subscribe button if you're new and you've never hit it so far, just so you can be a part of, just so you can go in and be a part of the group before 700. So let's go on now and see what's on tap screen right now. So what are we going to talk about? Like I said, short-term future, long-term futures, tonight, tomorrow. We're also going to talk about the lingering wintry hazards tonight into early Monday, some dangerous wind chills and prolonged cold impacts this week, and then we also will go on and talk about dry and stable mid to late week pattern. So currently, if we go and look at the current radar right now, this is live. This is what is currently going on, and we are seeing good amount of rainfall going on, but you do see some mixing with some freezing rain and some sleet right now going on over here near Lancaster, near Camden, Chesterfield, Bennettsville, Florence, Marion, Dillon. They're getting some freezing rain and some sleet right now, and maybe even a mix of some rain and some freezing rain going on over here inside the Midlands as well. Over here near Conway, a little bit of a mix. Low country seems to be all rain though for the most part. And speaking of the low country, they have a special weather statement they actually did extend, I believe. Areas of fog will linger across much of the Charleston Tri-County area into Colleton County this evening. The fog could become locally dense at times, with visibilities dropping to 1/4 of a mile or less. The risk for fog should diminish by mid-evening as a large area of rain begins to move into from the west. So, it's moved away. Not all this rainfall is here, but there still will be another risk for some fog as you go into the next 5 hours or so. Upstate though, looking dry for the most part. Maybe some little droplets up there, but for the most part, drying. Now, what's going on for the entire U.S.? Well, we do in fact have some snowfall going up here in the Northeast, from Maine all the way over into New York and Pennsylvania. Some snowfall going on in Kentucky, as well as over here inside of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Colorado, getting on some snowfall, even over there inside of potentially northern New Mexico. But look over here inside the West. Nice and dry over here. And look inside the north central U.S. going on over here inside of the Midwest. Nice. Now, if we go in and look at our cloud cover, Cloud cover for right now seems to be on the mostly cloudy side, so no clear skies tonight for the most part. And we will go on and look at that cloud cover for the future. If you go on and push this forward, we start off here at 11 o'clock. We push this forward all the way through. Here's 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. And that cloud cover is now moving its way out because that cold front is pushing it out now. Be all the way to 8 o'clock, 9, 10 a.m. as well. And you are seeing, again, clearing. Not as much cloud cover. Remember, the blue is the actual clouds. The white is the clear skies. You go all the way to 1 o'clock p.m. here, and you see some more cloud cover ongoing throughout the, more like the southern half of the state, the more lower state areas, than the more upper state areas. Go all the way to 4, 6 o'clock p.m., going into 7 o'clock p.m., and things really start to clear out as you go into around that time tomorrow. Go all the way to 12 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, and we are definitely a lot clearer as we go through Tuesday. Current temperatures right now, definitely a bit of a interesting take here. In fact, I honestly don't believe that it's 60 degrees. Either that's a little bit of a glitch, or I'm not quite sure what the issue is here. I'm gonna refresh it. No, it's still there. So yeah, I think that's a little bit of a glitch because I know for a fact it is definitely not 60 degrees right now in Somerville or 63 in Charleston. The temperatures up here though definitely make sense. Like you see in the upstate, 29 in Greenville, 27 in Spartanburg, 27 in Gaffney, York, Rock Hill, 30 in Lancaster, Newbury, Greenwood, Anderson, Clemson all near 30. Midlands around 33 in Columbia, 35. Orangeburg, 36 in Aiken, 33. Sumter, 31 also inside of Hartsville, and 32 in Florence. But these temperatures over here, more towards the coastal areas, I'm not quite sure why they are like that right now. But right now, where I am, it's around a good 36-ish in the low country area where I am. So, I mean, it's, like I said, I think that these are just a bit glitched out, unfortunately. In terms of your air quality, though, there is also a little bit of a moderate area. You also will have to not really look out too much for because it's not quite unhealthy for those sensitive groups yet, but still moderate. Everybody else inside the good category, mainly, like I said, the low country, that's inside of that moderate area. Low temperatures for tonight, you have around a good 27 in Greenville, 26 in Spartanburg, and 28 in Rock Hill, 28 Cheraw, 30 Greenwood, as well as 31 in Columbia, 32 in Camden, and 31 in Sumter, 34 in Orangeburg, as well as 32 in Kingstree, 33 Aiken, and 36 in Walterboro, 36 in Moncks Corner, and 41 in Charleston, 44 in Hilton Head Island, and 39 in Georgetown, 37 in Myrtle Beach. High temperatures for tomorrow. Yes, you are seeing these correctly. These are high temperatures for tomorrow, 38 Spartanburg, as well as 40 inside of Greenville, 42 Anderson, 43 in Greenwood, and 46 Columbia, Camden, 48 inside of Orangeburg, and 47 in Walterboro, 48 Moncks Corner and Kingstree, and 50 inside of Georgetown, 49 in Myrtle Beach and Charleston, as well as 50 in Hilton Head Island. Now, in terms of a total accumulation, so this includes rainfall, sleet, ice, because there is no chance for any more snow. We're done with snow throughout the state. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch over here. That goes all the way for Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Lawrence, Newbury, maybe even a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch for Rock Hill going on over inside of Cheraw, Camden, Columbia, Aiken, quarter of an inch to a half an inch for Sumter, Orangeburg, Florence, Dillon, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Hilton Head Island, then maybe even a half an inch to an inch for Walterboro, Moncks Corner, and Kingstree and Georgetown. Now, if we look at our ice totals as we go throughout the next 24 hours, 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch for pretty much a lot of the areas still. This goes from 7 o'clock p.m. going into 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. And so I think those areas I definitely still could see some more accumulation. Areas like Bennettsville could definitely still be included. Cheraw definitely could be a part of that area. Maybe even Dillon as well. But I think Camden as well, I see that potentially being something to look for. Everybody else, I think that those totals have really passed at that point, or at least the main part of it has passed at that point. But 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch could have fallen from 7 p.m. tonight going into 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. Now, what about the crazy score? If you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how crazy the weather is throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And right now we're at a 28. Why are we at a 28? Well, pretty simple. Seems like for right now that we obviously still have some precipitation. No flooding concerns or anything like that. But there is obviously some thunderstorms that happened a bit earlier as well. So that was one of the main things. But precipitation still being here, that adds stuff to it. Fog as well, patchy fog right now going on. Dense fog really isn't widespread or prolonged enough to push into that moderate territory. Winds are also going to be pretty calm as well. Gusts up to 15 miles per hour possible on the coast, maybe some open areas. And then temperatures, obviously, they're going to be low. So that's also going to push us up the scale. So now what about the SPC outlook in terms of thunderstorms? We do not have any threat for any thunderstorms Monday and Tuesday, but tonight that thunderstorm risk is still there. Speaking of, if we go in and check right now, has there even been any lightning in the past 30 minutes? Absolutely. It says only around like a 2%, but if I go back and check out the last hour, actually it doesn't even say that much, which is kind of interesting. But for the most part, yeah, there definitely could still be some, lightning, still some thunder out there potentially, but for the most part right now, it looks like that things are calming down in terms of the thunderstorm aspect. Now, in terms of excessive rainfall, we're good there. In terms of fire weather, we're good there as well, so I have nothing else really to say there either. So let's go on now and look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of your screen, so let's go on and see what we have to see there. I'm gonna hover my mouse over here, just in like the corner. And so we're going to start off at 9, we push our way over to 10 to 11 o'clock p.m., and we still have rainfall going throughout the Midlands. We still have rainfall going on throughout the PD, the Grand Strand, the Low Country. And as we get into around 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, rainfall now pushing over towards the east at this point. And now that we have that going on, that's going to push its way out. We see here 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. And you see that this rainfall has now pushed its way completely off the coast by 9 o'clock. So that's the timing from when this is going to move off. And I said that yesterday. This is what the ARRR said yesterday. So it's very, very confident that this system, the convection with it, will move off away from us by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you continue to push this forward, that cold front, after it pushes through, it's going to bring all that cold air with it. And that cold air will bring us definitely some cooler temperatures, but it will also bring dry conditions. So that's what I was talking about. We're going to have those drier, cooler weather as we go throughout this week because of this specific reason. And so also remember, we also will have to talk about the week forecast for the week of January the 25th. Going into January the 31st. So we're going throughout these last couple of days here of the month of January. We'll be in February. But as we continue through, I can go on and look at the actual temperatures as well. So we're going to start off here, 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And you can see as these temperatures go by, here's like 11 o'clock in the morning. You're only seeing 40s for a lot of us tomorrow. Then as you go all the way into Tuesday night here, Monday night here, you see temperatures down to the 20s, down to the 30s for a lot of us. We're even seeing some teens going into Tuesday morning. Then we go throughout the day on Tuesday during the day. Then as we get into around 7 o'clock p.m., again, back to being freezing for a lot of us. That's really at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. So what about our long-term future? Well, we're going to start off with the GFS first, as always, but as we just saw, dry conditions, we're not expecting anything there. We're going to go back down here, and we're going to go and look at the time. We're going to start off here at 10 o'clock a.m. on Wednesday, and you just push this forward, and we just stay nice and dry as we continue throughout the rest of the week until we get to Friday. We're seeing some more snow flurries potentially up there inside of the very far upstate, potentially, as you go into the later part of the week. And then look at this. This is 10 o'clock p.m. right here on the 30th right here. And you start to see some snow. Not the heaviest, but definitely some snow on going over there inside of the very not the very far upstate, but more like the northern part of the state. And that kind of swings its way down throughout the Midlands, swings its way down throughout the PD, swings its way down throughout the Grand Strand areas, maybe even a little bit throughout the Low Country as well. But, we're not seeing any ice. It just seems to be snowfall going all the way through. It's a Saturday morning here, but then it gets out of here. Gets out of here very quickly as we go into the last day of January. Then we go into February, and we just look, just dry for the most part as we go throughout the first part of February. We're not seeing any sort of precipitation until we maybe get to around like February the 5th into the 6th or so, but that's not even going to be a lot at all. And so my major concern here is, what is that going to do with the drought? We have this little system right here, but that's 378 hours out, so that's way too far out to talk about. But, bring some mixed precipitation up there inside the upstate, bring some more rainfall to the low country areas, if that was to occur. But that's, again, way too far. The one that I'm paying attention to definitely is going to be this one as we go into the end part of this week. If you go into the Euro now, we're going to go back to the same time frame. I just want to see what the Euro has to say for this system. Starts right here on the 30th, and it shows, to be honest, a more, well, I would say almost more active system, but it doesn't really show too much. This was from the 12Z right here. The 12Z doesn't really show too much in terms of snowfall activity, but if we go to the 18Z, I think the 18Z, when I checked this, shows a lot more. So look at that huge jump from the 12Z to the 18Z. Again, 12Z right here shows barely anything. 18Z right here shows a lot more. So if you don't know what the Z is, it's pretty much just like a unit of time. So 18Z being the latest. And so this is the latest. We get right here to around Saturday on around the 31st here on January. And it shows all the snowfall going on throughout the state. Like I said, not the heaviest, but it's snow. We'll take whatever it can get, whatever we can get. I do not believe, or actually it might. Let me see. Yeah, total snowfall, if we go throughout the next 144 hours or so, it shows a good amount. Let me go on and zoom my way in a little bit. You can see around a good 4.2 up there inside the upstate. 1 inch over here near Columbia, 1.9 near Sumter, 2 near Florence, 10th near Myrtle Beach. So like I said, little trace over here inside the low country again, and things will change. This could change from snow to freezing rain. It could change from snow to sleet again. It could do anything. And so even around a good 5 inches up there inside of the northern upstate. And that's from the Euro. So that's not the GFS. If we go back to the GFS, though, we can go back and see the total snowfall rates for that time period. And it doesn't show that much, which I'm not really that shocked. This one didn't really show that much anyway. So I'm not too shocked by that. But one thing that it does show, for sure, is it does show even, like a little close to an inch at least, trying to, over here inside of near the Spartanburg areas as you go into this weekend. So, we'll see. We'll see. This is still developing. We still have a lot more to check, and we still have a lot more for the models to get into agreement with. But we'll just continue to wait on it, and we'll continue to see what the models have to say here. So that's pretty much the main thing that I did want to talk about. I also want to talk about the temperatures as well, because the temperatures is also another big concern. If we go over here and we go straight over towards our temperatures here. And we're going to start off here at around Wednesday, Thursday-ish or so. And so you can see as we just go throughout the week, you can see, we're going to be freezing, at least trying to get below freezing for a lot of us, on Wednesday night going into around Thursday morning. And, same thing happens as we try to get into Thursday night. And then look at these temperatures as we get into next week. And so that's why we're looking at that snowfall risk, because these temperatures are down like the 20s for a lot of us. You just see overall, 20s and 30s throughout the entire state. You're seeing 28 near Myrtle Beach potentially on Saturday. Potentially. Keep in mind, potentially. And then as you go all the way through Saturday night, down to the 20s, even near the coastal areas as well. And so it's going to be a cold weekend next weekend for sure. Definitely going to be a cold weekend next weekend. Even if you go on and push it forward, even going into next week as well. This is going into early February, where it will finally start to warm up a little bit, but not too long after. It will just cool right back down, and that's also due to the fact of cold fronts moving in over and over and over and over again. If you also go and look at the actual wind chills as well, we can go on and take a look at that. Go all the way through from Tuesday going into Wednesday. And you can see these wind chills immediately starting to take a little bit of an effect through. We're going to go all the way past, going into Friday, going into Saturday. I mean, you're seeing single digits wind chills potentially next weekend. Right here, like 2 degrees up there inside the upstate, 10 degrees over there near the Midland areas. But like I said, a week out, things will change. But that's all that I pretty much have to say here in terms for our temperatures here. And so let's go and talk about the week, just in general, even though I probably should have talked about the week first, but before I started talking about temperatures, but it doesn't really matter that much. We can go on and look at the forecast models. We're going to go and look at the climate. And so the first thing that you're going to notice is that if we go on and look at the temperatures for this week, I don't think anyone's going to be really shocked. I think anybody's going to be really shocked when they see that we will indeed be below average. We will indeed be below average this week in terms of temperatures. Again, nobody should really be shocked by that. Below average this week in terms of temperatures. And so not only that, but for precipitation, we will be below average in terms of precipitation as well. And so below average temperatures, below average precipitation, that sums up this week. I said that earlier about how we were going to have a cooler and a drier week. And that's what it's seeming like it's going to shape up to be, as these averages are below average for both. And so what will this mean for the drought? Well, obviously we have a huge drought right now. In fact, the entire state is inside of a drought right now. Everyone that's inside of the tan, you have a D1, that's a moderate drought. Everyone that's inside the D2, or the orangish areas, that's a severe drought, meaning that you indeed have the worst of the droughts compared to the tannish area. And so that is obviously not a good sign. We obviously don't want anybody to be inside of a drought right now. So we're going to obviously root for rainfall. All of us should be rooting for rainfall. Everybody should, because I don't think you want to be inside of a drought yourself. So we should all be rooting for rainfall, especially because we're not receiving that much. But it matters, will it happen, when it's cold enough? I mean, we did just get a lot of rainfall just now. At least, let me check out and see how much rainfall I got. If I go in and check mine, seems like I got around 0.25. So yeah, around a good quarter of an inch. That's not really going to do too much, but I'll take some rainfall. I'll definitely would take some rainfall. And so, for the most part, I think that's it for the week. It's just going to continue to be a below average week. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. We're going to start off. Mr. Chris was here first tonight. He says, good evening, everyone. Hope you all stayed warm. I did. Thank you so much for asking. My Aunt Lewis says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. And then also, Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. My Aunt Lewis says, I pray that you all had a very warm day today. Well, for the most part, I did. For the most part, I was inside for actually the majority of the day. She also says today in Georgetown, our high was 45. At the moment, we're having a lot of rain and a thunderstorm. But right now, in my house, it's around 36. And our high temperature for today was around 40 degrees. So, a lot cooler than you at 40 degrees. My newer one right now said that the high temperature... Oh, God. I think I clicked on the wrong one. There we go. My newer one says my high temperature today was also 40, so definitely a good amount cooler than where you were. Mr. Chris said had a thunderstorm start at my place around 8 o'clock, around the same time, I think maybe a bit earlier. My name says Low J, and all hard clap of thunder and hard rain for about 2 minutes. The thunder scared me right out of my skin. The rain stopped, so I climbed back into my skin. Well, thankfully that happened. But for the most part, yeah, that rainfall, I mean, it's still raining. Definitely it's still raining. Is it really, too much of thunder and stuff like that? Not as much as it was, as it's starting to die down. Then back over here, Mr. Gray says, please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. It's free and it helps the channel grow. He's absolutely correct. Right now, we have around a good, let's see, 25 people that have tuned in so far. Yes, 25 people that have tuned in so far. And we only have 7 likes. If you are a part of that group of 18 that have not hit the like button yet, go ahead and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. Also, hit the subscribe button if you're new. My aunt Shirley comes in and says, good evening to all. A lot of sleet here in Raleigh. Pray all is safe and stay dry. Well, thank you so much for that. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for the weather update. My aunt Lewis says, I have a niece in Jacksonville, Florida, and she said it was 79 degrees. Yeah, it didn't really impact them too much. Not really any winter weather down there in Florida as much. Miss Chris says, wow, just heard a loud clap of thunder here in Moncks Corner. And then, currently it's 34 here in Moncks Corner and windy. So cold here inside of Georgetown. And then I just pray that it doesn't get below freezing tonight. Well, if you're inside the low country or inside what you are, it looks like you're at 36. So, not going to get below freezing. Not going to get below freezing, but a bit close. Definitely a bit close. Georgetown at the moment is 41. Thad says, good evening, Joseph and the 360 family. I trust all is well with everyone, and you are nice and warm. I am. He also says, my gutters froze. We didn't get any snow, but we got some ice. Not shocked by that. I think for the forecast, it just said wintry mix. I don't think there was really any chance for any sort of snow. He also says, my neighbor discovered a roof leak in their house. The water was pretty bad. It was seeping down from the roof to the walls. Wow, that is very, very unfortunate. But at least they found it. And at least they know. Now so they can get that taken care of. 50 degrees in Georgetown, so better than the 20s. It's absolutely. And it says currently it's 28 with the wind chills potentially dipping down to -5 degrees. We'll talk about San Antonio in just a second. My Aunt Lou says, nephew, are on it. Yes, we do have some thunderstorms right now. Well, thank you so much for that. And so that's all I can see here in the chat for me. So let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations? What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and talk about their areas. So we're going to start off with San Antonio first. As always, we have low temperatures tonight at 19. High temperatures tomorrow at 37. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 18. It's going to be extremely cold. You have an extreme cold warning until 12 p.m. tomorrow. As you just are going to continue to be cold all the way through tonight. Monday night, 18. Tuesday night, 27. Wednesday night, 28. So it's warming up. It's warming up. But it will die right back down, especially as you get into later of this week. Severe weather and excessive rainfall is indeed not expected for you. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at around 28. High temperatures tomorrow around 39. Then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 13. You indeed do have a chance, more of a likely chance of some rain and some freezing rain. In fact, I'm pretty sure you just said lots of sleet here in Raleigh. So you definitely are receiving it right now. And in terms of your rainfall, you're not really going to see too much at all after that. But your gusts will continue to be high. Same thing with San Antonio. You'll continue to see some breezy conditions at times. And in fact, you're only going to get cooler. For example, Monday, your high temperature is 39. Thursday, your high temperature is 32. Saturday, 31. So you'll continue to get cooler and cooler and cooler and cooler as the week goes on. Just colder and colder and colder. No severe weather, no excessive rainfall for you. For Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 23, high temperatures tomorrow night at 29, then low temperatures tomorrow night at 9. Wintry mix is expected tonight, mainly before 10 o'clock, then a chance of freezing rain between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. And then maybe even another chance for some snow after around 4 o'clock in the morning. But for the most part, it looks like right now, no severe weather and no excessive rainfall. Now for your future, looks like that you will also be on the decline, kind of like Raleigh, where temperatures will just decrease as the week progresses, and you'll continue to see those single digits as low temperatures as you go into this week. And then for Duncan, Oklahoma, the final, probably the coldest area, potentially, probably. Low temperatures tonight at 2, high temperatures tomorrow at 22, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 5. There's a chance of flurries tonight, mainly after 3 o'clock in the morning. But then after that, you're going to stay dry. And in fact, you're having wind chills right now at 1 degrees right now. Right now it's 14 at 1 degrees right now in terms of your wind chills. But tonight it will get down all the way down to -9. Severe weather and excessive rainfall not expected for you, but you will warm up. I mean, I think it's pretty hard to cool down past 22 being your high temperature, but you will definitely warm back up. You will cool down, though, as you get into like Friday and Saturday of this week. And so for the most part right now, don't really see anything else going on throughout these 4 areas. So that's about all that I have to say for tonight. If you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Right now, if I go in and check, let me go in and check this out real quick. We have around a good 29 people that have tuned in so far, and we only have 7 likes. If you're a part of that 22 that have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind anytime. Also, hit the share button. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, even people that you don't even talk to, because it's free. Like I said, this is all free. There's like no payment. There's 0 payment. Nothing, like there's nothing you have to do. Except for just click a couple of buttons. It's so simple. Not only for the like button, but also the subscribe button if you're new. We're at 677, trying to get to that main goal of 723 away. What's going on right now throughout the entire U.S.? Before I forget about that, a major winter storm will shift its impact into the northeast U.S. with heavy snow through tonight, while over the mid-Atlantic, sleet and freezing rain will diminish. Extremely cold air behind the storm will have a prolonged, dangerous travel and infrastructure impacts. Sub-zero low temperatures are expected nearly every morning from the northern plains through the Ohio Valley and into the northeast. So a lot is going on. In fact, I mean, we're going to see cold temperatures below freezing for pretty much almost all of the U.S. tonight, except for, maybe some areas like in Florida or California, Arizona. But this middle area right here, if I go in and draw you like a quick sketch real quick, this whole middle area right here is pretty much going to be below freezing. And possibly even more than I'm missing. Well, you actually can't even see that. Let me go in and zoom this out a little bit more. But right here, if you go in and look at this entire area right here, pretty much this entire area that's inside the blue right here, probably a little bit more, all going to be below freezing tonight. Maybe even you can even add a little bit more to that. I know all of Texas will be below freezing as well. So just almost the entire U.S. will be below freezing tonight, except for like some areas. And then in terms of top fans of the night tonight, I think, if I'm not mistaken, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we have a new number 1 for tonight. My Aunt Lula is at number 1 for tonight. Mr. Chris is at number 2. And then Thad is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us 9 o'clock p.m. Also being here early. That would also be something that could help you move up the leaderboard, and also being active, being here and actually going on and putting chats inside the chat, not just putting 1 or 2 up. That will help you move up the leaderboard as well. That's all that I have for tonight, though. I don't see anything else that I missed, so I will be back tomorrow morning with your Monday morning forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. Thank you for sticking with me, for the people who did throughout this entire storm system, and we have another one to look out for next week. And so make sure that you're still paying attention for that. Remember to go and hit those 2 buttons before you leave.